Well, I'm excited about this. This has long been one of my favorite comedians. Mike knows this as well. Sunday, July 18th, he'll be at the Comedy Connection in Providence at 7:30 p.m. One of the greatest comedians ever. One of the greatest talk show hosts, guests ever. I love his podcast, by the way. Gilbert Gottfried. Gilbert, how you doing?
Hello?
Yes, Gilbert, how are you?
Oh, yeah, yes.
Yes.
Hi.
There he is.
Yeah, yes.
How are you?
I'm one of the best ever. That I think it sounds like you're preparing my obituary.
Well, I mean, death is not far, is it, at this point, or no?
Yes. He was one of the best. So always remember him fondly. He was found dead and hanging in his New York apartment. Police say it's natural causes.
I was going to start with your podcast, which I do love, and it's you get every Monday. And with my show, it's funny. So we just taped my normal show for Barstool, and then we're doing this for later in the week. And I was screaming at my producer because he was saying about these stars, they have these stars on, and I was saying to him I'd rather interview the guy who runs a sandwich shop than certain stars. And that's what I love about your podcast. Like if I said to you can have Gabe Kaplan on, or you can have on, Jennifer Aniston, you would choose Gabe Kaplan 10 times out of 10.
Yes, and I'd also fuck Gabe Kaplan.
Is that true?
That's the part where sometimes I think I'm going a little overboard.
Wait a minute, are you saying you
references here?
You've had sex with Gabe Kaplan? Is that are you telling me this?
Yeah. He's
wow.
I something about that
hair,
70s mustache that really got to me. Yeah,
but it is a podcast that's just an affinity for that sort of 60s, 70s sort of TV and movie world.
Sometimes even before.
True, right.
I was gonna say, I think show. Mm-hmm. I had a child actress, Janet Ann Gallo, who worked with Lon Chaney and Bela Lugosi in Ghost of Frankenstein.
Right.
And that was the 40s. And then we had Donnie Donegan, who worked with Karloff and Lugosi and Basil Rathbone in Son of Frankenstein in the 30s.
What is that like? Is it Frank who does that? Do you have a producer that finds these people? Because it's not like these are people who are readily available. I wouldn't think.
Yeah. You don't wait outside the Tonight Show.
Right. I wouldn't think.
I thought
basically we call every emergency ward. and ask, is there one section where people who've just had a stroke are? You'd like to pick up our next guest.
Yeah, how many guests have you had? So we had John McAfee. Was that his name, Mike?
Yeah.
Who just died. That's the first guest in my show's history who's died. I'm going to guess you've had, 10 or 15?
They were dead when he had them on.
Gavin McLeod just died, right?
Who?
Gavin McLeod. You had him on, didn't you, from the Love Boat? And
oh yes,
yeah, Mary Tyler Moore.
Gavin McLeod. Yeah. And a few of the people, a bunch of them have died. In fact, the bad thing is there are these ones that we call up and ask them to do the show, and then they say yes, and like a day later they're dead.
That's never good. That's not good.
Yeah.
That's not good. Go ahead, Mike.
Gilbert.
And I always go, well, does that mean they're not doing the show?
He sold out, though, because they replayed his Dick Van Dyke episode last week for 4th of July, and I feel like that was him trying to appeal to the kids,
Yeah, that's true.
That's
true.
Yes. It's, you gotta be with, like, the hip-hop audience.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, these teenage girls these days, I mean, they see Dick Van Dyke, forget it. I mean, it's they can't help it. They can't help it. What, so are you back in doing stand-up in live shows yet? Or is it one in Providence the first one? Or did you?
Yeah. I've been going back. I've done about 2 or 3. I did like Caroline's New York. And,
sure.
They told me that I did really well. And I was up there. I didn't know. I was up there going, "What? This is actually what I do for a living." And it's like I'm there like thinking, well, do I have any other jokes? That's what was going through my head. But everybody said I did great, so I'll have to take their word for it.
Are you one of these comedians that, like, I have noticed that as Jerry Seinfeld, who I know you can do an impression of, as Jerry Seinfeld has gotten older, he seemed to get a little more bitter about comedy in general. Almost like he takes it almost too seriously, like he's lecturing. As you get older, do you find yourself liking younger comedians or not caring or paying attention?
Yeah. Well, I know Seinfeld likes to lecture. It's like, hey, I don't like the way comedy is going nowadays.
That's what I was hoping for.
I am very angry. So please sit down and listen to my lecture. Because I'm one of the old men of comedy. It's Milton Berle and it's me.
That's why he's almost become like Jerry Lewis, because, you know, you just get older and cranky and cunty, and it's like, well, you're a fucking comedian.
It's a scary thing, because sometimes I find myself thinking that way, and I go, oh, God, this is exactly what would get me about other people who are like, you're in the business a certain amount of time, and then you become, oh, what I'm saying people are listening to in interviews. So, yeah, it's weird. I try not to listen to myself.
When you were younger, were there older comedians that acted that way? Because, I mean, obviously your act was different, your voice was different, your presentation. Were there older comedians who you ran into at the beginning that were sort of assholes, or no?
There were, but none that I could even mention, because they were like these comics that were around clubs and resorts and and never quite made it to even the bottom level of television comedy.
Was there a great comedian that helped you out at the beginning, or was a mentor in any way? Or
no, everyone asked me that. I wish I did have a mentor, but I never did.
Did you ever break on stage? Because you're pretty much just all jokes. I've never seen you get serious or topical or anything. But have you broken it all on stage?
He was like Jerry Lewis. He would sing that big song at the end, like Jerry would sing at the end of the telethon, right?
When you walk through a storm, hold your head up high and don't be afraid of the door. At the end of the storm, there's a golden light and the cool, tender sound of the Lord. Walk on through the rain. Walk on through the storm, and you'll never walk alone. Bum, 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 bum. You'll never walk alone. Walk on with hope in your heart. And you'll never walk alone. You'll never walk alone.
Well,
both serious and topical.
What I don't get is, like, why would Jerry, even Rickles sometimes would do stuff like that? Was that just the way comedy was at that time?
Yeah, it's like, well, Don Rickles, he used to have a song in his act.
Right, that's what I mean.
Bizarre.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah.
I'm a nice guy.
Right.
Don't you forget it. I'm a nice guy.
Right.
Oh, I'm glad I've never seen that.
It's weird. God. It's weird. Jesus. You know, so when I first became a fan of yours, was listening to Stern when I was younger in the 90s. In the 2000s, you were, to me, the greatest Stern guest of all time, not even argument of all time. And then it just stopped. And we spent a lot of time on this show talking about how that show has changed. Did they just stop contacting you completely?
Pretty much. It just, but I find that in the business or in life, you could say, that nothing's permanent. It's like, I always feel like in the business, you can't ever just throw your feet up on the chair and kick your shoes off. It's like, because I've been on a bunch of shows where I'd be there all the time, and then one day it just stops.
Well, Letterman, right? Another example. I mean,
yeah, Letterman, and I used to do Arsenio all the time.
Right.
And then one day stopped.
Is the lack of explanation odd, or does it not even?
Well, it just feels different only to me, Gilbert, in that like you would do Arsenio for 6 minutes, or you do Letterman. I mean, Howard, you would do for an hour and a half, a lot. Like radio is just different, and then it just stopped. And as a listener, it seemed weird.
Yeah. I can't explain any of it and anything. The shows I've done and stopped doing, it's just you go along with it, and you follow the teachings of George Harrison, who said, "Sunrise doesn't last all morning. A cloudburst doesn't last all day."
Do you feel like you were ultimately, now history looks back on it, robbed for not being best supporting actor for Ford Fairlane? When you look at it, 30 years. Yes. I mean, it's to me. If you want to talk about the great supporting performances, you talk about James Caan in The Godfather. You talk about Gene Hackman in Unforgiven, Connery in The Untouchables, and to me, Gottfried in Ford Fairlane.
Yes, that, and even a worse crime, that I wasn't nominated for Problem Child 2.
Yeah, you were good in that. You were hot to trot too, I thought.
That was just wrong.
Did you how was Dice to work with?
He was okay. Hey, what, you know what? Hey, you were working together and Hey, what, you working on the movie? What, are you a homo? Hey, last night I was in bed with this broad. She starts going,
Does he ever break that? Was he ever like Andrew Silverstein, or is he that 100% of the time?
Yes, he breaks it, and then he speaks in a Yiddish accent. and he has a long beard and face.
Wow, he goes all in.
Transformation.
He really goes all in. Did you like working with Eddie Murphy? You worked with him, quite a bit.
Yeah, that was fun, because that scene in Beverly Hills Cop 2, we just improvised.
Because you knew him from SNL, right?
Yeah, we just each time we did it totally differently, and that was a lot of fun to do.
Did you, so are you one of these guys? Obviously, you've gotten in trouble, you've been, canceled, whatever. We know all the stories. Are you at the point of your career where you just don't give a fuck? Whatever happens, you have no control over it?
Yeah, I'm at that point. I figure, go ahead, get offended. I have no more jobs to lose.
Right. Were you ever like whether it was, the tsunami thing or the thing before you told the aristocrats choke the Empire State Building? Do you ever, when you're done with it, do you ever say, oh, maybe I shouldn't have done that? Or do you say, hey, I'm a comedian. This is what I'm supposed to do?
Yeah, I kind of feel like with the tsunami or the September 11th thing, I feel like, to me, when I get in trouble for stuff like that, I feel like it's like you get up every morning and eat a bowl of cornflakes, and then one day you eat a bowl of cornflakes and the whole world blows up.
Right. That's exactly right.
It's like we just noticed this and we're shocked.
Right.
Yeah, well, that's what I want to know, because how were you able to get like Disney? You did Disney and Hollywood Squares and all this like mainstream stuff, but you've always been the filthiest fucking comedian.
Yeah, it's funny. I'm too bad taste for Affleck. but clean enough for Disney. It's like my career walks the tightrope in between early morning children's programming and hardcore porn.
I haven't seen that. So you've done hardcore porn. I haven't seen that.
Yes.
What is your specialty, out of curiosity?
I remember one time I used to work the Improv in New York and Times Square, and they one time borrowed the place. They used the place to shoot a scene in a porn film, and they were in the kitchen mixing this concoction with mayonnaise. And I think I thought, oh, okay, I think I've got this, what scene this is going to be. Yeah, it was, yeah. And then I never ordered mayonnaise at the club ever again.
Do you have will you be one of these guys who's, if you're around, and God willing, you'll be telling jokes when you're 85 going around, or do you have some end date in mind?
No, I think there's a saying, you don't leave the business leaves you. And I think, that's what happens. One day you get up and the entire business goes, no, we're not interested.
Right. So how much are you doing this summer? A lot of traveling or not?
Yeah, I'm getting back to traveling. I enjoyed the rest. I enjoyed the pandemic.
You did enjoy the pandemic.
Yes. I wish it would happen more often.
Did you enjoy the pandemic for a break purpose, or are you a fan of COVID? Are you a COVID guy?
Yeah.
Oh, you are.
I wear a large button that says I'm a COVID.
Oh, I didn't realize that. So you gave
with a cartoon thumbs up.
So you willed yourself. So you gave yourself COVID. Oh, that's interesting. That's an interesting move.
Did you ever run out of hotel soaps or shampoos at any point?
And oh yes.
There you go.
I've been running low on them. Running low means I only have 1,000 shampoos and hand lotions, and now they do it in hotels where it's nailed into the.
I know
wall.
it. It's
probably because of your documentary.
I think your documentary changed the entire hotel business forever.
Yes. It's a personal fuck you to me.
Right.
Not the hotels, and I've been busy also doing Cameo, where I do video shout outs to people, and that's cameo.com/Gilbert Gottfried.
Cameo.com/Gilbert Gottfried. Okay, and then I'm guessing you'll do whatever they want you to do.
Yeah, pretty much.
Sex acts? Everything's a play?
I've hit that point in my career. Yeah, where you just put a gun in my hand, say, oh, I'd like you to shoot someone for me. Well, all right, they pay? Okay.
Who's the guest on your podcast that you guys have tried to get the most and haven't been able to hit on yet?
Oh, so many. Well, Mel Brooks.
Yeah, I was wondering about that.
Yeah. Haven't gotten William Shatner yet.
Okay.
There's a bunch.
You might want to hustle on those guys. Just a tip.
Running out of time.
I mean, I wouldn't play the long game on that one. What's your favorite episode? So I listen to him all the time. You know who was actually a good guest? Was Tim Matheson. I like that one. I like the guys who were sort of young stars, and then it's weird, just the stories they can tell from like the 40s and 50s all the way to like Kurt Russell types who are kid actors,
Yes. Yeah, these ones, a lot of times we'll get those guests that came at that in-between stage.
Right, that's what I mean, yeah.
Yeah, they were with the young stars, but the old stars were still around. They were working with them too. It's kind of like that weird stage when the Beatles came to America and the hippie movement started, and you had like guys like Frank Sinatra,
right, singing the Beatles songs and trying to trying to be hip.
Or you have to hear his version of Mrs. Robinson.
Oh, I've heard it. Yeah. I've heard it.
Yeah. That's anyone who hasn't heard it, you owe yourself.
Oh,
Well, what's crazy about guys like Sinatra and Elvis and those guys is they would go in to a studio on a day and record like 70 cover songs and just see what sticks. Wild.
Yes. Yeah.
Terrible.
It all.
Yeah, some terrible fucking versions.
Yeah. And also around that time, Sammy Davis Jr. was wearing Nehru jackets.
Right. I was flipping around the other night, and I have, on my cable, way up is one of those old retro channels, and the old TV show from the 80s, Hunter, was on. And it's Sammy Davis Jr. was in a 2-part special episode where he played a boxing trainer, but he was exactly like Sammy Davis Jr. But he was just a fucking, like, stuff like that. I can watch that shit all day. I'm endlessly fascinated by that. And it's just there. It happened, and it's part of the world, and there it is.
I caught an episode of Charlie's Angels, and it has and Sammy Davis plays a dual
role.
Episode. Dual role, and where he's Sammy Davis Jr.
Okay,
but it's supposed to be that these kidnappers want to kidnap Sammy Davis Jr., but they get this look-alike named Harold who works in a supermarket. and it's Sammy Davis in a dual role.
I never really got, like, I'm in my mid-40s, so, like, Sammy Davis Jr. to me as a kid I didn't really know, like, I know what Sinatra did, and obviously Dean Martin. I never really understood Sammy Davis Jr. Like, I didn't get it.
Yeah.
I knew it was all in the family, basically. Like
yes.
Yeah, right.
Yes. That was his biggest with the new crowd.
Right, yeah, but like I didn't quite get why he was. I know he's a singer and an actor, but I never really got his. And he did a lot of that stuff in the 70s and 80s. A lot of those sort of knockoff episodes of TV.
Oh, yes. Yeah. And he'd usually pop up as Sammy Davis
Right.
Jr.
Jeez. Anything else, Mike?
I just like that Gilbert refers to people that watched an episode of All in the Family as the new crowd.
Yeah, well, yeah. It was, well, for Gilbert, that's a new show. That's a brand new show.
I caught myself as after saying that. I thought, yeah, this is the new hip audience.
That episode, by the way, was in 1971.
Yeah, the new hip crowd.
It's only 50 years ago.
Watching Bonanza.
But I did want to know, was there ever any talk, like when Jackie left or even when Artie left, of you replacing them? And is that something you would have been interested in even doing?
I don't know. I was never asked to replace. Maybe I was asked, but at the time I was busy. I'd be flying out doing, The Tonight Show and Hollywood Squares. So
right.
I think I didn't have enough time to do it.
Is it overstated? Like in when I watch documentaries or listen to podcasts or read books, is it overstated how important a good Carson appearance was for a comedian in the 70s?
I think I never did the Carson.
You never did Carson? Okay.
No, yeah. I was on the Tonight Show several times with Leno.
Right.
But for every comic who went on the Tonight Show and became a star overnight, there's like about 50 who went on several times and no one knows their names.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, because everyone always points out Seinfeld or Leno or Romano or Ellen or whatever, and then that's probably true.
And that became the accepted. Like, oh, you do Carson once,
you get a sitcom, and
you're a major star after that.
Was there a big role in a movie or a TV series that you were close to and didn't get? I mean, I would think that you're a specific type, but I didn't know if there was one that you read for and you thought you were going to get and didn't get.
I remember.
Oh, I know what it is. I looked it up right here. Liam Neeson in Schindler's List. I didn't know that. Is that right? I didn't know that.
Would have been very interesting.
I would have watched that movie.
I actually was in Schindler's List. In the credits, I'm third Jew to the left.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. No, but was there one or no?
I remember one time I auditioned for Warren Beatty. He was doing Dick Tracy.
Yep.
And and he was saying, "You're terrific. You're perfect. Just everything you hear in show business. You're exactly what we want for this part." And then I waited a while, and my agent said, "Oh, they're not going with you." And I said, "Oh, who'd they get?" And they said, "Dustin Hoffman." So it's like somewhere in the middle of the night, they're going, Dustin Hoffman or Gilbert Gottfried.
I think you would have been great in Kramer versus Kramer. I could see that.
Yeah, it's like the only way my name and Dustin Hoffman's name could be in the same sentence is I've seen Gilbert Gottfried's acting, and he's no Dustin Hoffman.
Is there ever anything?
Another part I lost was in a Mel Brooks movie called Life Stinks.
Oh, Leslie Ann Warren, right?
Yes.
Yeah, the homeless one. Yeah.
Yeah, they wanted. I auditioned for that. They said you're great, everything, and the part went to Billy Barty.
Oh, really? Really?
I guess Hervé Villachez was busy.
I was gonna say, I know. It was too early for what's his name, Vern Troyer.
Yeah.
So like, I mean, I know you're always, but like when you go and you read in front of a Mel Brooks, is that intimidating, or are you already at that point you're not worried about it? I used to be horrible at auditions. Oh, yeah.
I used to really take it seriously and be devastated. Now I try to have fun with it and then leave quietly.
You have any projects coming up?
Yes, but they're so big I can't talk about.
Oh, is that right? Wow, I didn't know that.
No, there are big names, and they don't want me to talk.
Wow.
Oof. Are you continuing your role in the Sharknado series, or is that over?
See, I think that's over. The Sharknado series I really like doing because it's like if you watch Sharknado and you listen closely, you can actually hear your IQ drop.
Does that pay pretty good, or?
Not particularly.
No.
And but it was fun because it was one of those things you could do. You could trip and fall during the scene,
right? And
they go, "Oh, okay, good enough."
Well, it's my favorite. It's my favorite part in Ed Wood when George the Animal Steel, I think, tries to go through the door and hits it, and they yell "cut," and the guy says to him, "You might want to do that again." Ed Wood's like, "No, in real life, he would struggle to get through that door. Let's go. Cut it, print it, and go." which was a great movie.
Because one of the Sharknadoes I did, they filmed in Central Park because it was supposed to be Texas that it's taking place.
Right.
And if you've ever been in Central Park, you go, "What am I doing in Texas?"
Yeah, is this in Amarillo? Why am I in Amarillo here? What's going on? Why did this happen? Well, Sunday, July 18th, 7:30 p.m., Comedy Connection in Providence. This has been one of my Mike knows this. I've been trying to get Gilbert on here forever. I mean, you're the greatest. You've lived a great life. I'm sorry that's ending soon.
Yes,
it's been a pleasure.
And my podcast, Gilbert Gottfried's Amazing Colossal Podcast,
every Monday, right?
And for a video shout out, Gilbert. Cameo.com/Gilbert Gottfried.
Are you gonna take the final step and go and do actual prostitution at any point, or no? Yes. What are the rates for that?
I'm gonna be standing on the corner with hot pants on.
You'd be surprised if you started OnlyFans. I think you could do very well. You could do very well.
I'll be there with really horrible looking thighs with track marks in them because I can't find any more veins in my arm.
All right, Gilbert, we'll talk to you. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Thanks, Gilbert.